In the February of 2006, while I was still in CJ4, a couple of things occurred that I actually recalled last night, believe it or not. But anyway, one was this day, and it was in the afternoon. I had to wander out to go over to one of the wards to see some people. And there were, I don't know, maybe 50, 100 Nigerians outside the Chaka. Now the Chaka was right opposite the medical ward, and I thought, wow, what's going on? And there was lots of noise and commotion. And it turned out that the governor of the jail had sold the rice. He'd sold all the rice. So nobody in CJ4 that day got any rice at all. There was uproar because the Nigerians, they liked their rice. You know, they used to make, I think it was called suji or something with rice and bread. Anyway, they managed to get some rice from probably another jail just to satisfy the Nigerians at least. And the governor was transferred. Simple as that. One day, TMB and I were in the cell and we were fantasizing about coffee. And I said, Nescafe coffee, matey. And he said, yeah, and it's got to be really hot and milky. And I said, yeah, and sweet. And we talked about this, you know, for 5 or 10 minutes. And we was laughing about it. And we said, you know, it'll come. 15 minutes later, Chris, the Frenchman from Vipassana, who was actually on a Vipassana course at the time with other people from various jails, walked into the cell with a litre jug of hot, milky Nescafe coffee. TMB looked at me and he says, you fucking Welshman with your energy. And Chris looked at us and he says, you know, what's going on? So I told him the story and he says, Baba, it's our connection. That's how it was. These things, I have no explanation for this. You know, all I know is this is how it was. These things just occurred, you know, out of the blue kind of thing. And when I left CJ4, the Japanese lad, Shintaro, I restrung the guitar right-handed and give it to him. And he was over the moon. And he said, we will meet up on the outside. Unfortunately, we never met up and I never saw him from that day onwards. And I found out, after I'd been out of jail for some time, that he did leave Tihar and he got arrested in Japan for doing hanky-panky again. And he was in a Japanese prison. So it's how it was like. Anyway, in June of 2006, we started to get some rain and the monsoon was waiting to come. And this night, I heard this cat. So I walked to the outside cell and there was this cat. And I just put my hand through the bars and he'd come up and I was stroking it and all this. And after some time, he'd come in, just walked in through the bars. These cats weren't exactly fat like. And it used to come to me every day. And then it stopped coming. For about 6 weeks, never saw this cat. And then one night, I heard the cat. And I was laid on my fat and I just looked out, you know, because there was a doorway from the outer cell to the inner cell, and I looked out and there was a kitten, a little tiny kitten, with the cat, which was obviously her mother. And I was just looking at this kitten, and the mother went up and gave it a tap on the head, and he'd come through the cell. And I had, what did I have? Oh yeah, give it some tea. I had some tea. And every day after that, this kitten would come. And I never saw the mother again after that, but the kitten would come every night. And that was my connection with cats. I mean, up until that point in my life, I'd always had dogs in my life. There was always dogs. Never a cat person. Even though in Chinese astrology I was born in the year of the tiger, I'd never had an affinity with cats. But from that point on, to date, I mean, right now we have 3 cats. It was lovely. It was lovely, that's all I can say. Anyway, this day the rains came for the first time, and like I said, Ward 5 was vast, a big, vast open area, and there was like concrete paths going round it and whatever. And this morning got up, you couldn't see the paths. It was just like a lake of water, just a lake of water. And I was sat out myself, and I picked up some stones, some flat stones, and I started skimming them across the water. Something that I hadn't done since I was a kid, you know. Probably did it with my son when he was a boy, but I don't remember. Anyway, I was skimming these stones across the water, and then all of a sudden I looked up the row of cells, and these Indian boys saw me, and they started doing it. And then on the other side, which I don't know, 40 meters away maybe, where there was other barracks and cells, they started skimming stones. So that day people were just skimming stones all over the water. I loved it. It was great. I felt like a kid again, you know. It was lovely. It really was. Anyway, this night, and this would have been middle of July, I would say, I thought, I'm going to start writing. Time to change. This was based on something that I did back in 2001 for my daughter and son. It was just a little thing. It was called The Evil Within. And it was just a little booklet, that's all, just to try and give him some guidance. Anyway, I'd wrote up what I called then 10 topics. They were like chapters. And these were just words, right? And the first couple of words was like, the first word was honesty. So I would write about honesty. And what I did with these chapters that I eventually did, I would get the dictionary definition of that particular word and just write it at the top, header. And then I would write about the word. So I started writing, and I'd done these 10 topics, these 10 words. And as I was writing, another word would pop into my head, just pop into my head. So I thought, yeah. So I made a note of it. And when I'd finished, I would start writing about this word. And then another one would come, and another one would come, and another one would come. And this is how it went on through July and August. And I wrote for every day, virtually every day, about these words. In the end, I wrote 36 topics, which is 9, you know, which is the end, if you like. Because after 9, you're back to 1, back to new beginnings and all the rest of it. And when I finished, I looked at it, and it was a mess. You know, I just wrote, you see, I had, you know, big pads with lines on, and there was no paragraphs, there was no stopping and start. It was just continuous writing. This page, turn it over, and that's how it was. And when I finished, I thought, this is a mess. Now, bearing in mind that my nephew, or my two nephews, was coming out in the October, and Ted was going to take this away, and his wife Denny was going to go through it and put it onto this website. And I thought, Christ, I can't give it to him like this. Moving on a little bit, in the September, I rewrote it all again. I just copied it, but I like improved my writing. I made paragraphs and made it quite presentable. And I still have the originals now here in my case. Some days, especially when the rains came, I'd be sitting in my cell, and quite often you'd have power cuts. In the inside cell, you had a big fan up on the top of the ceiling, and as long as the fan was on, you were okay. You know, it didn't matter how hot it was. As long as the fan was on, it was bearable. Unfortunately, especially in Delhi, everybody would be using air conditioning and Christ knows what. We'd have power cuts, you know, sometimes nearly every day. And sometimes they might last a half an hour. They could last all bloody day. And this day I was writing away, blah, 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 blah. And the fan went. And within a minute, it was running off me. And everything that I'd written, I was bent over writing this way. And everything just got destroyed. Like, so I can remember very well that day. I had to finish. I couldn't do anything that day. And there was a few times I would sit on the concrete bed with a bit of cloth on my knees and my hands on my knees, and I would just sit there because the fan was off, locked up, and sweat would just run out of me. It would come off my fingertips, off my toes. There was nothing you could do, you see. You just had to like suck it up. And many, many, many times, this is how it was, not just for me, for all of us, you know. And I don't miss it, I'll be honest with you. I really don't miss it. Let me have a look here. One of the main things of writing Time to Change, one of the words that I come across was ego. And I looked up the definition of ego and egotism and egotists, ego eccentrics and all this. And for me, ego is the most negative thing that is in our life. When you are down, when you are angry, when you are sad, when you're depressed, for me, the way I see it, the way I saw it, it's ego fucking about with your mind. That's all it is. And just for me to go back to 2004 when I was in Ward 2 with Lando and Lenny, I met a guy one day, Vikas, and very well educated, come from a very well-to-do rich family, and he killed a guy, simple as that. And he said to me one day, he said, Steve, you give me Reiki? He said, I got too much tension. I said, yeah. So I channeled Reiki to him, and after some time we were talking, and I says, why did you do this, Vikas? You know? And this is God's honest truth. He said to me, Steve, it was my ego. He said, I thought I could get away with it. He said, but it was my ego. And when you look at the power of ego, I can go back to 21st of May 2003 when I slashed my wrists. You know, for me, that was just ego saying, I've beat you. And that's how I see ego, and it's never left me. I see ego as this evil that we all have to live with. And if you can't control it, it will control you. And you know yourself. An example, you're married, you love your wife, whatever, and you have your argument. You have a big Barney and you shout and you scream at each other. Why do you do this? You know, you love this woman, right? She loves you, blah, blah, blah. And yet, something will go poof, and it's that. Why? It's ego saying, let me take control of this situation. I'll sort it out. You know? And after some time, when ego is satisfied, it all dies down. You might have your quiet period where you don't bother to speak, and eventually you get back to normal and you get on with your life. This is what ego does to all of us. And I realized this when I was writing Time to Change. And it came to me this night. I hit like a patch where I was blocked. You know, all these words would come in, but then all of a sudden they stopped. And I thought, why are they stopped? And I just said to myself, it's my ego trying to stop me. And I said, fuck off, get out of my head, don't come back. And I shit you not. After that, the words started to flow again. You decide yourself, but believe you me, the next time you fall into the trap of allowing your ego to take control of your mindset, tell it to go away. Just get rid of it. And your life will be a lot better. Truly. There's so much I want to talk about, but I'm up to nearly 17 minutes. So, excuse me. Next time, please give me the thumbs up. It helps this YouTube algorithm, whatever that is. And like it, share it, comment. I just want to spread the word, you know. Just want to spread the word. Thank you.